Ever wondered why making your first 100K is harder than your first million? It's a paradox that might seem baffling at first. The journey to your first $100,000 can feel like an uphill battle, while the road to $1 million can seem like a downhill ride. This is the intriguing world of finance, where the first steps are often the toughest. Sounds strange, right? But stay with us, and you'll see why this is often the case. Let's start from the beginning. You're starting from scratch. Picture yourself at the foot of a towering mountain, the peak hidden by clouds. That mountain represents your financial journey, and though it may seem overwhelming, remember that every journey begins with a single step. The first hurdle you'll face is, quite simply, starting. Sounds easy, right? But it's often the most challenging part. You're venturing into unfamiliar territory, and the path ahead is uncharted. This is where the learning curve comes into play. You'll need to learn new skills, understand new concepts, and develop an entrepreneurial mindset. This is far from a casual stroll in the park. It's a steep uphill climb, and it's going to test your endurance. But endurance isn't the only thing required to conquer this mountain. You'll also need the right equipment, or in this case, the initial investment. This isn't just about money, but time, effort, and resources too. You'll need to invest in your skills, in market research, in building a network, and yes, in some cases, even in a product or service. This initial investment is crucial. It's the gear that will keep you safe as you navigate the rocky terrain of starting a business or earning money from scratch. And let's not forget the element of risk. Every step you take on this journey carries a certain amount of risk. Will your product sell? Will your services be in demand? Will your efforts be rewarded? These are questions that only time can answer. Yet, despite these challenges, remember that it's the hardship that makes the journey worthwhile. Each stumble, each fall, teaches you something new, something valuable. And with each step you take, you're not just climbing a mountain, you're building resilience, you're gaining experience, and you're growing wiser. And that's why the first 100K is often the hardest. It's a steep learning curve with a lot of initial investment. But remember, once you conquer this first hurdle, the journey ahead becomes more of a thrilling ride than a treacherous climb. But once you've made that first 100K, things start to change. Suddenly, you're not just dreaming of success, you're living it. And with this success comes a powerful ally, momentum. In the world of business and finance, momentum is everything. It's like a giant snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small and slow, struggling against the forces of gravity and friction. But as it moves, it gathers more snow, growing larger and moving faster. Before you know it, it's become an unstoppable force. That's exactly what happens when you make your first 100K. You've built a solid foundation, and now it's time to leverage it. You've got valuable skills, hard-earned experience, and assets that can be put to good use. You're no longer a novice, but a seasoned player in the game. Think about it. The skills that helped you earn your first 100K will help you earn your next 100K even faster. You've learned how to spot opportunities, how to negotiate deals, how to manage risks. These skills are like tools in your toolbox, ready to be used whenever you need them. Your experience is also invaluable. You've been through the ups and downs, the triumphs and failures. You've learned from your mistakes and celebrated your successes. This experience has taught you resilience, perseverance, and grit. It's made you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for whatever comes your way. And let's not forget about your assets. Whether it's your savings, your investments, or your business, these assets are like seeds ready to be planted. With the right care and attention, they can grow into a forest of wealth. So yes, earning your first 100K is hard. It's a test of your determination, your creativity, your resilience. But once you've passed that test, you've got momentum on your side. And with momentum, you can accomplish incredible things. So you see, once you've made your first 100K, you're not starting from scratch anymore. You're building on what you've already achieved. And that's why earning your first million isn't just possible, it's inevitable. And here's where things get really interesting. Picture this. You've just crossed the $100,000 threshold. You've proven your business or investment strategy works. You've shown that you can turn a profit. What's the next step? It's time to scale. When we talk about scaling in the context of business and finance, we're referring to the process of increasing the size of your operations without significantly increasing your costs. It's about taking what works and making it bigger. Imagine you've opened a successful coffee shop. You've got a great location, your coffee is top-notch, and customers are pouring in. You could continue running this single shop, Or you could take your successful model and replicate it in other locations. That's scaling. Or let's say you found a winning strategy in the stock market. You've been investing small amounts and consistently making a profit. Now, you could continue with these small investments, but what if you increased the amount you were investing? That's scaling too. You see, once you've proven that your business or investment strategy is successful, you can scale up to earn more money with the same amount of effort. You're not reinventing the wheel every time, you're just making more wheels. The beauty of scaling is that it leverages the groundwork you've already laid. The hard work of figuring out what works and what doesn't has been done. Now it's just a matter of doing more of what works. And this is why making your first million can actually be easier than making your first 100,000. The first 100,000 is about proving the concept, about figuring out what works. The first million is about repeating what you already know works, but on a larger scale. So, don't be daunted by the thought of $1 million. Remember, you've already done the hard part. You've proven your concept. You've built your foundation. Now, it's time to scale. And that's why, once you've made your first 100K, making your first million can actually be easier. So, what does this all mean for you? Well, let's break it down. The journey to your first 100K might seem like a steep mountain to climb. But the truth is, it's not about the mountain. It's about the climb. It's about building your strength, learning the ropes, and gaining the experience needed to conquer bigger peaks. The first 100K is your training ground. It's where you learn to navigate the world of finance, understand the value of a dollar, and master the art of making your money work for you. It's where you face your first set of challenges, make your initial mistakes, and learn to pick yourself up when things don't go as planned. But here's the kicker. Once you've made that first 100K, you've already learned most of what you need to know. You've honed your skills, developed your strategy, and built your financial muscle. And that, my friends, is when the magic happens. That's when you start to see the power of scaling in action. That's when your money starts to make money, and your 100K begins to multiply. That's when your first million no longer seems like a distant dream, but a very achievable reality. So, don't be daunted by the challenge of making your first 100K. Instead, see it as a stepping stone to greater success. Because once you've crossed that threshold, you'll find that the journey to your first million is not just possible, but probable. Remember, the hardest part is often just getting started. But once you've made that first 100K, the sky's the limit. So, there you have it. We've journeyed together through the paradox of making your first $100,000 being more challenging than making your first million. We've explored the initial hurdle of breaking free from the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, and the crucial role that this first step plays in your financial journey. We've recognized the power of gaining momentum, of how each dollar you save or invest is a soldier in your army, tirelessly working to bring you more wealth. We've seen that the more soldiers you have, the faster your wealth grows, and how this snowball effect can lead to exponential growth. We've delved into the magic of scaling, how once you've mastered the art of making money work for you, it's possible to apply the same principles on a larger scale, leading to bigger returns. We've seen that the same strategies that got you to your first 100,000 can and should be used to propel you to your first million and beyond. We've reflected on the importance of maintaining a growth mindset and the role of continuous learning and adaptation in this journey. We've understood that setbacks are not failures, but opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow stronger. We've also underscored the significance of patience. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your fortune be. The journey to financial freedom is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires consistency, discipline, and the courage to take calculated risks. Finally, we've reiterated the power of starting today. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. There's an entire world of opportunities out there waiting for you to seize them. And remember, the journey to your first million begins with the first 100K. So get out there and start building your future today.